You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. This week, the Women's Musical Club of Winnipeg welcomes 3 finalists to perform alongside the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra in the WMC McLellan Competition for solo performance. $20,000 in prize monies will be awarded at the conclusion of the final round on Thursday evening. And in the coming days, we'll be introducing you to this year's finalists. Welcoming to the studio first, Sam Nadurak. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Simon.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And congrats on your success thus far in the WMC McLellan Competition.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be in the finals.
So you're a born and raised Winnipegger who recently completed a master's in cello performance at the University of Ottawa, studying with Paul Marlene. When did you graduate from the program, Sam?
2022.
2022. And you did your undergraduate degree out there as well, right?
I did.
So
yeah.
what took you to Ottawa?
Well, it was the teacher. A lot of the music school, the value of a music school is having an individual teacher that you work with. And Paul Marlene was not only recommended to me, but I had worked with him before, and I knew there was a good connection there. And then when I went out there, the door opened, and it was just a great experience working with him.
Paul Marlene, no stranger to the Classic 107 airwaves, no stranger to Winnipeg audiences. I mean, he is such a talent, and it is just such a highly regarded faculty out there, especially the strings. I mean, there's something special going on. And so it must have been a very formative few years for you doing an undergraduate degree and a master's. You've since returned back to Winnipeg. Tell us a little bit about where you're at now. You've got a private studio going. You're teaching a little bit.
Yeah, I am. So I just started teaching when I graduated pretty much. So I have about 9 students now. And that's just been a really cool experience, discovering that end of music. It's not often when you're a performer that you have to explain the concepts that you know so well.
Yeah.
So having to explain it again to students is actually really helpful for me as well, and it's been really enjoyable. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's helped shape you as a player, as a soloist?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of forces you to go back to the basics when you're teaching beginners, and so it's always interesting to revisit the basics, and it's always helpful to do that. And yeah, other than teaching, I've been playing with the Winnipeg Symphony quite a bit in the last couple seasons, which has been a total pleasure as well, and a bit of a dream too. So that's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
You've kind of touched on one of the things I definitely wanted to talk about. I mean, one of the most unique aspects about this WMC McLellan Competition for solo performance is the opportunity to perform as a soloist with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. Mm-hmm. They're some of your colleagues now. You've guested with them a few times. How does it feel to be returning this time as a soloist, sitting in front of the whole gang?
Oh, it's great. I see this as kind of the ideal way to do this, because this is my first time playing solo with an orchestra ever. So it feels really, really warm to come back and to play with my colleagues and friends. And I know they're all excited to play with me too. They've told me, and I'm hoping they don't sabotage.
I'm sure they won't. I'm sure everyone is wishing you well and wanting to put their best foot forward too. The WSO always does, led in this case by Maestro Julian Pellicano. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be performing. The Rococo, the variations on a Rococo theme by Tchaikovsky.
Yes, yeah. So Tchaikovsky wrote this piece a long time ago, back in the 1800s, and the title, the Rococo title, comes from the 1700s, and this was a style of architecture, the Rococo style, and it was kind of known for its ornamentation, its detail. It was very elaborate. If you like Google images of Rococo style architecture, you can see this like tons of detail and stuff like that, and that's what the piece is like. It begins with a very kind of simple theme. And then as the variations come, it's more and more elaborate and more virtuosic in a lot of ways, which makes it a lot of fun to play and to listen to.
Let's chat a little bit more about this. So this is music of Tchaikovsky. It's about as close as he got to writing a cello concerto. And it's music that he wrote with help from his pal, a fellow by the name of Fitzenhagen, Wilhelm Fitzenhagen. I think there are 2 different versions of this this work. Which will you be performing?
I will be doing the Fitzenhagen version, and I wrote a paper about this in university, actually.
Oh, do tell. Recount your paper to us. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I had to compare these 2 versions, and it might be a hot take. I prefer the Fitzenhagen version. Basically, the differences are that Fitzenhagen took the Tchaikovsky version and he kind of switched up the order of the variations. Is the main difference, and he actually took one variation out. which is quite bold, if you ask me. But he changed the piece a little bit, and that's the version that actually got popular originally. And the Tchaikovsky original version actually wasn't really popular for a long time. And nowadays we see a lot more cellists playing the original. But the popularized version is the Fitzenhagen, and I might be deeply biased, but because it's the first version that I came across. But I find that it paces out the variations really well. It has good. It changes from the slow to fast variations in a good pace to my taste. But they're both great.
Yeah, they're both great. They're Tchaikovsky. They're filled with this wonderful melody, and it's again that inspired by Rococo architecture. Also, kind of this is Tchaikovsky in his like Mozart-inspired age, very sort of big C classical.
Yeah.
Are there any particular challenges when performing this work for you?
Well, it's. I mean, anytime you're doing a theme and variations, you have a lot of variety, and there's a lot of different techniques and styles that are shown. I mean, the last variation is definitely the hardest, at least for me. It's fast, it's blazing fast, and it's all over the place. But it's been a great challenge. So if you're talking about a challenge, the last variation is hard.
And you're going to be doing it alongside the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. And like you say, you've never performed with full orchestra as soloist before. You got to just be thrilled about this, to perform a work that you know so well. You've written a paper on it. It's one that you obviously have, strong feelings about and convictions over. You just must be thrilled about this opportunity.
I'm so excited. I've seen friends go through the McLellan competition before, and there's sometimes opportunities in youth orchestras or university to play with orchestra, and somehow I skipped all those, and here I am. So yeah, I'm totally thrilled. It's going to be great.
So one last question for you, Sam. What does it mean to you to be a finalist in the WMC McLellan competition for solo performance?
Oh, it means a lot, and it's I was kind of pleasantly surprised at each step of the way to get here, but I'm really excited. I'm hoping to rise to the occasion on Thursday.
And who's going to be there supporting you?
Oh man, I have quite a few people coming. I have family, friends, church friends, all sorts of people. I'm very thankful.
Well, it is going to be a wonderful evening of music, some $20,000 in prize money is being awarded too. But what an incredible opportunity for young artists like yourself. Sam, thanks so much for joining me in the Classic 107 studio today. Best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.